Here's my other book.
Hey, good day, everybody. This is welcome to the Hangout. This is Paul Romero with the Network Marketing Insider, number 203 by Swiss Gold Global. And I just want to say again, welcome to the Hangout. As you can see, the sport fishing hat, and it looks like I'm hanging out here in the galley of our boat, which that would be nice, but it's not the case. Actually, hanging out in the kitchen at my Tahoe cabin, I guess, home, whatever you want to call it. Interesting thing here. It's 7 a.m. here. I don't know what time it is where you're at, and it just started turning light, and it turned really fast. I was looking at just like 5 minutes ago, it was still pitch black, and now it's like there's getting to be light. So I don't know where you're hanging out at. I don't know what time it is where you're at, but hey, type it in. Let us know. Tell us where you're hanging out from. And I'm here in South Lake Tahoe, California, hanging out in my kitchen. And John, where are you hanging out from?
Good and happy rising to you, Paul. I'm hanging out in Phoenix, Arizona. It's actually 8 o'clock here, so we're on a 1 hour time difference, you and I. That would be a good thing to know for any of you guys who are watching us live or stumbled into the Hangout on YouTube in the future. Go ahead and let us know where you're hanging out from. I'd be really curious to see where you're catching us from. Yeah, same kind of experience this morning, Paul, except you know what? I got in the shower. It was pitch black out. I got out, shaved, sat down, and I just looked out the window here, and it's a nice, beautiful, sunny Phoenix day. So I'm sure today's going to be awesome, as every day can be awesome if you make it, and that's your choice. So welcome to the Hangout. Today is Own Your Life Plan Monday, where we discussed, Newopday.
Thank you.
Own Your Life. This is the simple system to how you can have financial success very quickly, I would say easy, but I'm going to switch that word to simple, because it ain't easy, because you got to actually work kind of hard, but it's simple. Anyone can do it.
Exactly. Simple is the key word. Yeah, this is negotiations Newopday, Own Your Life Plan Day. You're right. Absolutely 100%. And, you know, the reason why we go through this is because I got to ask you a question. Have you ever really stopped to think about this? And it's even worse in today's world when you think about how many people actually are working 2 part-time jobs, which means now you have one commute to your first job, then you have a commute to your second job, then you have your commute home. So you've added a commute to your normal system. But if you ever stop to think about taking out all the time that you spend sleeping, and taking out all the time that you spend working, and taking out all the time you spend commuting 3 times now, and taking out all the time that you have to, run around and do all the things that you have to do just to stay alive in this world, that at the end of the day, most people, and probably including you, have but 1, maybe 2 hours to themselves to do the things that they, quote, like to do. And here's another little element I'm going to add in. Do you even know what you like to do anymore? Most people don't even know what they like to do anymore. It's a sad state of affairs. But even if they had more time to do the things that they like to do, would they even have the money to do it? We have a way for you to own your life. That's right. Own your life by starting a home-based business that is so simple, as John put it, that anyone can do it. And the best part is it does not involve any selling, and it does not take very much of the very little time that you have right now to do so and be successful at it. So I just want you to think about that, because Swiss Gold Global, Negotiation Newopday, the Own Your Life Plan, Wisdom Wednesday, Website Wednesday, and of course our Freedom Friday, that's what this is all about. coming on board with joining a network marketing, not direct sales, a network marketing organization. And today, as we always do on Newopday, we're into the Own Your Life Plan, the 45-second presentation. And we are in chapter 3 now, which is the salespeople failure syndrome. As you see by the title of this hangout, it is the salespeople salesman syndrome. We've already been through chapter 1, which is the overview of understanding what network marketing is, because that really is the core of what your job really is in network marketing. And then we went into 2 + 2 is 4, which is the simple napkin presentation number 1 that just exposes the both simplicity and the earning power of a network marketing organization to your potential sponsor. And then we're into number 3, which is the salespeople failure syndrome, which now really points out heavily the difference between what a direct sales organization is versus a network marketing organization, and also points out the proper way to go about sponsoring people into your organization versus recruiting people into your organization, and how people who are natural salesmen that you might be looking to sponsor into your organization have a bridge to cross here, and your job is to get them to understand that this is not selling, that you don't have to go out there and sell the world on your network marketing organization, that the focus here is upon working with just 5 or possibly even less people than that when you first get started. Maybe you're only working with 1 or 2 when you first get started to get a little bit more comfortable with things. But the whole thing is the salesman syndrome is the whole idea of running out and selling your product and service to everyone you run into, where you bring in numerous people into the organization. However, you just bring them in and you turn your back on them because you're busy going out and bringing in somebody else. And that is what this chapter 2 is designed to point out, why that is wrong.
This is actually such a critically important chapter to really understand the distinction between what we're doing with network marketing and what the average sales guy is interpreting what we're doing with network marketing. As Paul pointed out, the chapter is entitled The Salespeople Failure Syndrome. The challenge you're going to have when you bring a salesperson on into your network marketing organization, and I just want to interject that they can be some of your top producers. I mean, if pointed in the right direction, a salesperson can do extremely well at this, but they have to understand, and it's difficult for them because when they see the products and the services offered, it excites them, as it should. It excited you, which is why you got into it and you're sharing this thing. And their immediate thought, their immediate reaction is, I'm going to go out and sell this thing to a freaking million people this week, baby. Yeah, woo. But the problem is that mentality, though good, and that motivation, we want to harness that, is detrimental to the success of a network sales marketing organization, because we're not in the business of direct sales. This is not a business about sell it to somebody one time, move on to the next, sell it again, move on to the next, sell again. No, what Paul's trying to point out here about that, when he's saying you work with 5 people if you can handle it, is you want to work with 5 people that you can teach to be good teachers. The sales is great, but me personally, in my organization, I'd rather have 5 excellent teachers, or put it this way, we'd rather have 5 decent teachers than 5 amazing salesmen, because it's the distinction, because network marketing is about sponsoring people into the organization. And there's a difference between selling somebody something and sponsoring them, because you sponsor them in, which means you're making a commitment to teaching them and teaching them how to build a large organization, and sales professionals can do that without selling anything in the normal definition of the word selling. So it's our duties as to build our network marketing organization to bring us financial freedom, to teach the distinction that this system is about sponsoring, teaching, and building the organization. You sponsor someone, you teach them the system, and through those two methods, you're going to build a very large and very successful network marketing organization, which brings us right to the simple way of making this presentation on a couple of napkins.
Yeah, and basically what it's all about is it's really all about introducing the concept of duplication. And
introducing the concept of duplication.
Right, because as we talked about, and this is where it's your job to point this out, is as we talked about that 100% of people that are not in network marketing don't understand what network marketing is, and 90% of the people that are in network marketing don't understand what network marketing is because they are operating under this salesman failure syndrome, trying to go out and sell product and service. And as I said, a key differentiation in you searching for your vehicle is to understand what this company that you're looking at is offering, and what is the true structure of the compensation plan. Is it based around sales? Is it a direct sales organization versus a network marketing organization? Just one thing for you to consider. So introducing the subject of duplication is what this is all about, because in network marketing, as John was just saying, it's all about, let me flip back one page here, because it's all about you teaching people how to sponsor, teach, and build their organization. And where people fail is that the salesman syndrome, where people fail is right here in the very, very beginning, because they think that, when you bring somebody into your organization, that boom, there it is. Okay, hey, I brought somebody in, I've duplicated myself, boom, I'm on to the next person, gonna go duplicate myself again. But that's not where it happens, because as I show in this, if you bring somebody in and then you leave to go bring in this person, what is Sue supposed to do? She has no clue what's going on. And it says right here in the book, I like the way he writes this here. Imagine your own sponsor. And this is even a worst case scenario, but let's just say, your sponsor, this guy right here, he went out and he sponsored all these people in, and then he's not, nothing's happening for him because he just keeps moving on to the next person and bringing somebody else in and bringing somebody else in. And eventually your sponsor, imagine your own sponsor dropped out before you had an opportunity to see the program really did work. I mean, if your sponsor dropped out, wouldn't you probably assume that the whole program just doesn't work because they're the one that sponsored you in? And and if they dropped out, well, then it must not work, right? So the whole idea of getting to the level of duplicating yourself is through that staying with the one person that you bring in and teaching them, teaching them how to sponsor. That's the whole thing. Once you bring Sue in, then you need to teach her how to sponsor Tom, Joe, Ed, and Jill. But first of all, just Tom. You want to get Sue taught up how to go out and sponsor Tom. Then you're going to be 3 people deep, right? You're going to have you, you're going to have Sue, you're going to have Tom, but you're still, believe it or not, you're still not duplicated, because the same thing happens. If you taught Sue how to bring in Tom, right, just like this shows right here, if you brought in Sue and you taught her how to sponsor, and she went out and she sponsored Tom, and then she left Tom and she went over to sponsor Joe, and then she left Joe, she went over to go sponsor Ed, and then she left Ed, and she goes over to sponsor Jill. What the heck are Tom, Joe, and Ed supposed to do? How do they don't know anything about this business. And Sue's off sponsoring. So the next thing you know, Tom's dropping out, Joe's dropping out, Ed's dropping out. And then Sue sees all these people that she sponsored in dropped out. So she says, this doesn't work. And she drops out. Now Jill sees Sue drop out, and Sue's gone, and Jill's gone. And the whole thing just blew up because you didn't duplicate yourself.
So then the question is, how do you duplicate yourself? And actually, the answer is quite simple. And as Paul and I always joke about, I don't have the index cards on me, but I have a copy of the book, and I can cheat. So I'm going to look up the answer right now, because we can do that in network marketing. And I'm going to show you this little graph. So he was talking about you bring in, you teach Tom or Sue. And Paul had Tom, but this book has Carol. But you're teaching Tom how to find and sponsor Carol. But you're not done, as Paul said, because you need to be duplicated, which means you need to teach Tom how to teach Carol how to sponsor Betty. Then you're duplicated, because not only have you sponsored someone and taught them how to sponsor, now you've taught the person that you sponsored, Tom, how to teach somebody else how to sponsor Betty, because now you can disappear from the equation, and now Tom can teach Carol to teach Betty how to teach the next person, and so forth and so on. And it's really, the concept is quite that simple. And that's where the super salesperson, and it's even the title of the next part of the book we're getting into, the crash and burn. As Paul said, you'll have people falling off like crazy if they don't understand how this business works. So very simple. It's all about you. In my case, I sponsor Paul. So I'm teaching Paul how to sponsor somebody else. Great. Now Paul sponsors somebody. My job ain't done. I'm teaching Paul how to teach the person he sponsored how to sponsor, and then teach the person they're sponsoring. It's quite simple. It's making sure that the downline understands the system.
Yeah, and that's like, I keep going back, because this really does enforce the difference between a direct sales organization versus a network marketing organization, and why selling is not a part of network marketing, because you're not selling your product and service. What you're doing is you're sponsoring people into your organization, and then you, by sponsoring them, you are going to work for them to help them learn how to build and build their organization as you are building yours. And that's how your organization grows, is by you teaching others how to run their business the way that you run your business. I kind of forgot where I was going with that. I had a thought, and because you were talking about the duplication there.
Just to add a little piece of what you said, so you can gain traction back on where you wanted to go with that last thought, Paul, I love to just reiterate this point about this book and this system, is that it really could apply to everything, not just network marketing, to raising your kids. If you think about it, I'm going to raise my kids and teach my kids, when they have kids, how to raise their kids in turn, so they can teach their kids how to raise my grandkids. This works not only in those settings, but in any business organization you have. Paul and I also do real estate, and we've employed these exact concepts into our real estate business of teaching others how to do the real estate. But more importantly, we know that just teaching them how to do real estate isn't what's going to make us, financially free and super rich. It's teaching those people how to teach others how to do it. I mean, I know we keep hitting the same point, but it's just so critically important to drive that into your skull that that's what this is all about.
Exactly. And then if you go back to chapter 2, the 2 + 2 is 4, and you start understanding what we're talking about here, the fact that, if you work with the people that you bring into the organization, instead of just going out and sponsoring, recruiting. Just looking at the simple napkin presentation of 2 × 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times another 2 is 16. That's simply put right there. Okay, you had to go out and sponsor one person. Actually, no, I'm sorry, two people. That's it. You went out and sponsored two people. All right. And you worked with these two people, and they went out and sponsored two, and then their two went out and sponsored two, and their two went out and sponsored two. And now you have an organization with 16 people in your organization, and you didn't have to go bring in all 16 people. You didn't have to go sell product and service to 16 people. You only brought in two people, and you taught them how to teach their people to sponsor, and then you trained your people how to teach their people how to sponsor. And that's all you have to do. So that's sort of really wrapping the power in behind this thing, is that you're looking at, how the 2+2 ties into the fact that you are working with the people you bring in, and instead of going across bringing in 16 people yourself, going out and having to do that, you just brought in two people, and you go down and you work with each of them to only bring in two people. None of them have to go out and get 16 people. They're only doing the same thing. They're only bringing in two people. And then all of a sudden, now you've got 16 people in your organization. That's a whole lot easier, isn't it? And there ain't no selling in that. So with that, John, we're at 20-minute mark here. You want to throw in a final word on this, and we'll close up shop today?
Just keep in mind the power of this system. Keep it simple, and make sure you understand this concept we brought up, moving forward into the next chapter, and, applying this concept and this system to your network marketing organization or your business or whatever you're looking to apply these methods to. And just keep in mind that, we're not going to stay away from sponsoring in salespeople. They can be a huge asset to the organization. It's just about getting them to focus and understand this basic concept that they're not required to go out and sell 130 people. They'll make 130 sales simply by making sure that they're taking the time to show the people that they're sponsoring how to do it. And as Paul said, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. But if you're working with 5 people, 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 is 125. So you want to go out and sell 130 people, you don't need to do that. In fact, that's the wrong way. You just need to show 5 people how to do it, and you'll get all those sales you want. And you got to just learn to rein in the salesperson. And if you're a salesperson yourself, learn this to rein yourself into what this is all about. So with that being said, if Paul has nothing else, I'll go ahead and throw in
one quick thing. I was going to say, not just the salesperson, but the complete sales mentality.
Exactly. The whole mindset of being of sales, the salesperson syndrome, the salesperson mentality. Absolutely. So with that being said, we ask, oh universe, we don't ask for more riches. We simply ask for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches that have been given to us at birth, through the power to control and to direct our own mind to whatever ends we may desire. With that being said, we'll see you back on Wisdom Website Wednesday, where we'll be discussing the actual physical product of Swiss Gold Global.
Yeah.